Suprabhatam, Suswagatam. We have been dealing with Raja Yoga, Bahiranga Yoga, Antaranga Yoga. We completed Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Then we saw that Patanjali does not end with Samadhi. We have the third chapter called Vibhuti-pada. In Vibhuti-pada, he talks about Sanyama, Trayam Ekatra Sanyamaha, an advanced technique of yoga in which you combine Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi voluntarily. What is the result of that Sanyama? Sanyama brings parinamas, transformations. Transformation at the mind level, emotional level, intellectual level and body level also. And by such transformations, you start gaining what are called siddhis, supernatural powers. That's what many people take to yoga, fascinated by siddhis. At the mind level is prapti and prakamya. You'll be able to control the mind of others. You'll be able to have telepathy. You'll be able to talk through your mind and also have precognition. What is going to happen in future? You start understanding all those dimensions will be at the mind level. Then we have the dimensions related to the body, making the body very small, making the body very big, Harima and Mahima, making the body very light, float up anywhere, and make it very heavy like a mountain. Is it ever possible? It all appears to be fairy tales. But Patanjali gives a scientific explanation as to how that is possible. As you go to the deeper levels of the mind, the laws that govern the subtle body is different. When you move from Annamaya to Pranamaya Kosha, the laws are different. In our simple example, the laws that govern water and steam are different. You take water, and water will be there, go on heating. Then absorb the latent heat, and what happens? All the thing will go up. What happened to the gravitation? In the same way here, when you transform the body through the mind, then the body will start going to the subtle form. The gross body is made out of Panchabhutas. The gross 5 elements, Akasha, Vayu, Agni and Prithvi. And they are in the gross form. You can see them. Whereas when it becomes subtle, they are called Pancha Tanmatras. So the gross elements become subtle. Annamaya Kosha becomes Pranamaya Kosha. And when it becomes Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, then there is a transformation that has taken place in the basic elements with which we are made. So that transformation will bring about totally new laws. In modern science also we have understood that the laws that govern the gross macro objects like this are different from the laws that govern the subtle objects. For example, this is governed by the law of gravitation. Whereas if you take an electron and leave the electron may come down, electron may go out. Electron can go to the front, to the back, to the side and left. In all directions it can change. And therefore the laws that govern the subtle world of atoms and fundamental particles are called quantum mechanics, theory of relativity. And advanced Jnana Yoga, they have been thinking. Higher states of samadhi called super consciousness. That is the process of sayama. Move from one level to another. Higher samadhis bring greater powers, greater equanimity, greater happiness. And what are those samadhis? 8 types of samadhis have been talked about. Vichara, Vitarka, Ananda, Aspita, Anupamat, Sampragnataha, Tadanyaha, Asampragnataha. 8 samadhis have been talked about. When you move through that, you start bringing the higher dimensions, higher samadhis, which call for deeper purification. When you purify yourself, the Pancha Bhutas will get transformed into Pancha Tanmatras. When we have mirror, you cannot see the face. You clean it up, you can see the face. In the same way, sun is there, the clouds are there, you cannot get the light of the sun here. So when you remove the clouds, you get such powerful presence of the sun. In the same way, we have infinite power inside. We have all blocked it. Therefore, when you remove that, what is called as avidya or aspita, then all the power is going to blossom. So we have to invoke that power within us. If we invoke, tremendous things can happen. Miraculous things happen. It can be used for healing. Even a dread disease like cancer can be normalized. A peculiar thing happened. Dr. Deepak Chopra, who most of you know his name, he was in Boston, he was at Massachusetts, Harvard, and he was an endocrinologist basically. He used to encounter a lot of cancer patients. Some cancer patients were so severe that they were almost declared dead, or within maybe one day they were going to die. But suddenly something happened to these people and they become completely normal. When they come next day, absolutely normal. They tested the biopsy, no cancer. How did that happen? 1 in 1,000 cancer patients go through this called as spontaneous regression. The cancer is completely normalized, is removed totally, burned. How does that happen? How does that happen? Everybody thought it's only an accident. We can't explain. But Deepak Chopra did a wonderful thing in compiling all those 4, 5, 6 cases which he encountered with all the documentation. That's the first part of his book called Quantum Healing. Then he asked the question at the end of that part. You must all read that. Very interesting. Beautiful. Do you think that's only an accident? Do you think there is some law behind that? Is there a science behind it? In the second part he describes that you all have immense power. When you are able to open up those powers, then the immune system becomes so strong, it will gobble up all our cancer cells. And it becomes completely normal. How does that happen? In very rare cases, 1 in 1,000 cancer cases, this happens. You are put to a corner, imagine, and a person is coming to kill you. And you are running over to a corner, and you have no other go. And the person has come, you are about to get killed. Then suddenly you get tremendous power, and then you start blasting it back. and throw him out. Does it not happen in most cases? No? When you are pushed to the corner, you are in a crucial situation, then all your powers are going to come out. This is what happens in cancer. You are about to die, then your power starts coming out. Another interesting case happened here in Tamil Nadu. One of our friends, when he went for the testing, he found that cancer has spread. And if not in the first stage, second or third, fourth stage, metastasis has occurred. And he was a great devotee of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and he was associated with the Ramakrishna mission. And when he was told, then doctor said, your days are only numbered now. According to our normal thing, you cannot live more than a month. That is the thing. Then what did he do? He did not get depressed. He immediately came down and wrote letters to all the donors. A temple was being built. Money has to be collected for building the temple, and he was one of the fund collectors. He was the secretary. He wrote beautiful letters. See, I was involved in this collection of funds, and this temple has to be brought forth, but now, because of my cancer, my days are numbered, and doctor have told the maximum of 1 to 2 months. Therefore, within this 1 month, I have to collect all the money that is needed for the temple. And they started walking around and going around all through the country and meeting the people and explaining them. For me, only 15 days left, only 14 days left, but my target of 25 lakhs is very much there. Still I have to collect 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs I have collected. Please give me, please give me. 2 months he lived, and in 2 months he completed his target. 25 lakhs were brought, and the temple project was over. Then he had a wonderful time, and he lived for another 2 months, 4 months, when all the construction was over, the inauguration function was over. He saw the inauguration of the temple. Then he had a wonderful thing. Okay, now I am prepared to die. And he died after 3 months. From where did you get that energy? Normally when people say that I got cancer, I become so sick, so painful, everything. But here this fellow got too much of energy. This is the thing that Patanjali is talking about. When you invoke the tremendous power inside, it will all come out. You can use it by doing that. Can you do it systematically? That's what we have done here. In our Arogya Dham, we have dealt with all the cancer patients, and very severe cancer patients. They were declared almost dead 3 months to 6 months. But using this technology of the Patanjali thing, advanced techniques of yoga therapy, they have been able to completely turn them around. I remember in 1986, we had 6 terminal case cancer patients. 3 breast cancer, blood cancer, bone cancer. Dr. Krishna Bhagwan, the director of the Kid Goa Memorial Institute of Oncology, he said, we can't do anything more. We can only give you painkillers, and that's it. But if you want, you can go to Dr. Nagaratna, and she deals with yoga therapy. Maybe something good may happen. When these people came to Nagaratna and all of us, we did not assure that we are going to get cured. We only said, maybe yoga can give you some more relaxation. Maybe you will be able to leave the body with a little more comfort and calmness of mind. And they said, yes, sir, please. Every day, we used to have 2.5 hours class, 1 hour theory, 1 hour practice, half an hour interaction. And we developed some of the advanced techniques there. And amazing. One of the ladies who was 36 years old, she was a maths teacher. And doctor has told only 1 more month left for you. After 15 days, she comes and says, Doctor, I am feeling so good, so nice, so full of energy. I want to go back for work. What do I do? Sitting in the whole house? And Nagaratna said, please be careful. Go only for 2 hours. Not more. Slowly build up. And she started doing that. And that lady, even now, she is living there. Count 1986, today is 2010. How did this happen? 24 years. And she was diagnosed recently and she found that there was absolutely no cancer. Cancer had vanished. This is the power that we all have. It is the power that we have to invoke. That's what yoga does. All those sick patients are living even now. And this can happen only when you are able to invoke the power inside. Trayam ekatra sayamaha. You have to do the sayama and see that the power starts coming up, closing. That is the healing power. The healing power will surge up. That's why the Chopra called it as a quantum healing. It's a jump in the healing process. In Samadhi, I was telling you, what happens. In Samadhi, there is a jump inside that takes place. And that jump brings about the changes that needed. Just like in the grass world, the electron jumps from one orbit to another orbit. It goes on absorbing the energy. When E equals h nu, that amount of energy comes, it jumps from one orbit to the next orbit. There is no time gap. And similar thing happens in our mind also. There is jump of the mind from one layer to the other layer, from the grass to the subtler layer of the mind. That is the Samadhi. When it jumps from one to another, the laws are different. Water, when you are heating, what happens? Temperature goes on increasing. 85, 90, 95, 100. At 100 what happens? 100 degrees centigrade. It goes on absorbing heat. Then the temperature is not rising. What is happening? An internal transformation is occurring. The molecules are getting loosened from the water, the fluid level, and start becoming vapor. What is the result? Vapor starts going up. In the same way here, when the mind goes from one level to the other level, tremendous amount of power and happiness inside will all start coming up. And that is the power that could be used. Any of the diseases can be normalized if you can use this dimension of consciousness. That is what we have to use for. So Vibhuti is not to show off that I have got the power. Vibhuti is not to just aggrandize others, cut others, beat others, terrorize others and become a go-getter for these things. You must use that for good of the society, for dealing with very complicated cases, all types of wonderful things. People come here and they get the power. What it shows is we all have that enormous power. That power has to be brought forth. This is what the great Master Swami Vivekananda said. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal of life is to manifest that divinity, he said. Alright, the time has come. The person knows that he is going to die. How does he leave the body? Prayana kale manasa chalena. Bhaktya yukto yoga balena jaiva. Ruvor madhye pranamaveshya samyak. Satam param purusham paiti divyam. Tam param purusham, divyam paramam purusham upaiti. That he is going to reach that kaivalya sthiti, that state of moksha. How? How does he leave the body? Prayana kale, time has come for him to leave the body. How is his mind? Achalena manasa, unmoving mind, very steady mind, not afraid that I am going to leave the body, I am going to die. No fear at all, absolutely. And how is his emotions? Bhaktya yuktaha. He has surrendered himself to totality. That all-pervasive Ishvara. Now he has tuned himself. How? Yoga balena. By the power of yoga, by the power of meditation, by the power of the Sayama. Now he brings the prana, bhruvor madhye pranam aveshya. He brings his prana onto the Agna chakra. Bhruvoho madhye, middle of the eyebrows. He brings here, that is the Agna chakra position. And pranam samyak aveshya. Prana is going to bring it there to the Agna chakra and leaves the body. Voluntarily he leaves the body. Is it only stories? Do we have people like this? You have heard of Swami Nityananda, Swami Satyanandji, who was the founder of Bihar School of Yoga. Recently he left his body. How did he do? He called all the people and he told that today is the last day, I am going to leave the body. He was very hale and healthy, in his 90s. And he had absolutely no problem. Then how did he do? He sat there in Padmasana and night he just came out of the body and left the body. Yogenante tanutyajam. Kalidasa describing the grandeur of the Raghukula Vamsha. How did the Raghukula people used to live? And they used to have a full life. In the end, when the end comes, they would not die a normal death, afraid of dying and getting unconscious. Yogena tanutyajam ante bhavati dev. All these people were able to sit there and go there, put the thing onto the Agna chakra and leave their body. This is the way that people used to do. Prana focused on the Agna chakra with total surrender. He reaches the Supreme Being. Normally there are two predominant modes in which the great Jnanis and the Rajyogis leave their physical body with total mastery. One is leave the physical body. What happens? The prana goes to the Pranamaya Kosha. From the Pranamaya Kosha it moves over to the Manomaya Kosha, then to the Vijnanamaya Kosha, then to the Anandamaya Kosha, and merges totally with the Kaivalya and the Moksha Sthiti. This is what happened to Swami Vivekananda. On that very significant day, he called all his disciples, all his fellow beings, and served all the people dinner by himself with his own hand. Everybody got a little surprised. How is it? He is serving today. He said, please wait. Then afterwards he also partook of food. Then he said, today I am going to leave the body. The time has come. My great master has called me and he has given me the key to leave that. And he sat in Padmasana and completely left the body. And that is the same thing that happened to Gondavari Maharaj. Gondavari Maharaj, I remember, those days he had a huge satsang. In Bangalore, he had come there, a great bhakta of Ramanama, Sankirtan, everything he had given, and the Ramanami, 9 days of his katha was over, and thousands of people had come that day, and Ram Pattabhisheka was all beautifully done, and after all people left, he had very close disciples who were there, and then he told that now, today is the last day, I am going to leave the body. And he just sat there, went on chanting Ram, 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 so much of smile, so much of happiness, so much of bliss, he just leaves the body. This Gondavari Maharaj. This is one way by which the great masters leave the body. Another way by which people leave the body is to diffuse the body to its separate layers. The Annamaya Kosha was transformed into the Pranamaya Kosha. Pranamaya Kosha gets diffused into the Manomaya Kosha. Manomaya Kosha gets expanded to the Vijnanamaya Kosha. And Vijnanamaya Kosha to the Anandamaya Kosha. And ultimately Anandamaya Kosha merges with the totality. That's the example Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gives. It's salt dog, trying to measure the depth of the ocean. As it starts going, it starts losing itself. At the end, where is the salt dog? God. Salt has merged with the ocean. In the same way, we had the great examples of Shankaracharya, Raghavendra Mahaswami, and we had Sant Gnaneshwar, and we had Ramarika Mahaswami. All these great masters, they knew how to diffuse the body. Shankaracharya goes into the guha and he just merges. Nobody sees his body anymore. No need for cremation, no need for burial ground, nothing whatsoever. They just merge. The gross physical body, Panchabhuta, gets transformed into Panchatanmatra. Tanmatras go back to the original thing, causal state. Prashantavana samhenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti rashantarajasam brahmabhutamakalmasham akalmasham brahmabhutam shantarajasam saha upaiti. Is going to reach one with the Brahman who is sinless. How does he do that? Prashanta manasam enam. At the time of death, his mind is very, very calm, very peaceful. But what happens to our normal people? We are terrified. Oh, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. You are engrossed with fear. But here you don't have fear. Because there is a total understanding. Death comes to everyone and he had control and mastery over the death. Sukham uttamam. He is full of joy inside, full of bliss inside. Understing that peace and silence is bliss. He stays in very deep peace. Ananta samapatti, Patanjali had called. Peace, silence, transcendence. And in that he completely merges, becomes one with that. Prayatnadyatamanastu yogi sanshuddha kilvishaha aneka janma sansiddhaha tato yati parangatim. Prayatnat yatamanaha yogi. Even at that highest level, the yoga master, the master of masters, he is putting that effortless effort. Kilvishaha samshuddham karoti. All the dirt and the sins and the vasanas and the samskaras which are hidden in the subconscious, everything is purifying, purifying, purifying. Shuddhi he is doing, purification process. How? By consciously maintaining that awareness, effortless dhyana, effortless samadhi, staying in that one. And aneka janma sansiddhaha tato yati parangatim. He has perfected that whole process of staying in that samadhi even at the time of death. By several births he has taken. It's a long process to purify our things and reaches parangatim, reaches conscious, effortless effort for many lives, purifying till the end, features Raja Yogi of the highest plane. Yom tas-sukham tararamaha tatham tarjyotirevayaha sayogi brahmanirvanam brahmabhutodhigacchati. How is he at that time when he is about to leave the body? Antaha sukhaha. Inside is full of happiness and bliss. Antaha aramaha is absolutely effortless inside. And tatha antaha jyotirevasaha. He is full of effulgence. When your mind goes into that silence, very, very many times you go to sleep. There is andhakara, it is the ignorance, it is the darkness. But here, no darkness, no ignorance, full of inner effulgence, jyoti, full of light, full of effulgence. And that is the state in which he leaves the body. Sayogi, such a yogi, Brahma Nirvanam, Brahma Bhutaha Ajigacchati. He reaches that Kaivalya, which is called as Moksha, which is called Brahma Nirvana, called Brahma Bhuta, and becomes one with the Brahman, salt dog, merging with the totality. So, Brahma Nirvana or the Kaivalya. Kaivalya is the term used by Patanjali. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna uses the term Brahma Nirvana and Buddha uses the term Nirvana. Bliss, inner ease, effulgence within. He reaches that moksha. That is the goal. So starting with Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, he gets to the level of Samadhi, and 8 types of Samadhi. Vitarkanagata Sampragnat Samadhi, Vitarkanagata Asampragnat Samadhi, Vicharanagata Sampragnat Samadhi, Vicharanagata Asampragnat Samadhi, Aspitanagata Sampragnat Samadhi, Aspitanagata Asampragnat Samadhi, Anandanagata Sampragnat Samadhi, Anandanagata Asampragnat. Like that 8 different Samadhis, and all these are called still the Savida Samadhi. Still they are the Bija. And with the Shuddhanta Karna, staying and then cleansing and purifying and burning, that ultimately he reaches that Brahma Nirvana or the Moksha. Absolute silence, total freedom and the totality. And that is the whole spectrum of Raja Yoga, which has been presented beautifully in Bhagavad Gita. Same thing we saw in the Patanjali thing. Whatever Patanjali has told in the 196 Sutra, we can see that in Bhagavad Gita also. Bhagavad Gita, therefore, is the master grantha for all streams of yoga. Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. The 18 verses we have selected from Bhagavad Gita depicted this entire Raja Yoga. So let us contemplate on these thoughts before we close. Sit straight, spine erect. Relax all parts of the body. Beautiful smile on the face. Take a deep breath and slowly breathe out. Let the breath slow down. Keeping that wonderful inner silence and bliss. Go deeper and deeper. The more we go deep, the more will be the bliss, more will be the power, more will be the creativity. Let us ground ourselves into that wonderful bliss inside and spread the fragrance of that bliss to everyone whom we meet today, throughout the day. We must maintain the same composure, calmness, peace, and blissful awareness. That's called Anusandhana. Come to Namaskara Mudra.